Hi everyone, this is Chrishanne and I hope all of you are keeping well. I have with me a good friend of mine and her name is Andrea Zsapka. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Andrea. So she calls herself the Dancing Economist, a very unique title. She's also a virtual events trainer, social connection facilitator, creative leadership and self-actualization trainer, as well as an empowerment advocate, mentor, impact hub founder, and a change maker with a passion for creating an impact. Andrea is originally from Hungary, from a small town of less than 20,000 inhabitants. Her parents encouraged her to try many different things, from painting to taekwondo to debating, arts and crafts, singing, dancing, and playing the piano. Oh, wow, Andrea, I didn't know you played the piano. Okay, she's been keeping herself very busy as a kid and as an adult as well. And she's very thankful for the opportunity and the exposure her parents gave her to so many different activities. So through that, she found her passion, which is dance. And that's a significant gift for her. And dancing has taught her a lot about herself, life, people, connections, collaboration, and respect. Andrea has been working for many years and has managed to build her dream career out of creativity and passion. Her expertise lies in the areas of event and project management, people management, creative leadership, and she also has dabbled in so many different things. She started What Women Want workshop, which is a free platform to empower women and raise awareness for discrimination, domestic abuse, violence, and bullying. And in that, she found her mission. Her mission is to show that a small drop in the ocean can have a global impact in the digital age. Andrea started an out of comfort zone challenge to organize the Global Empowerment Summit, not only for women, and the inaugural one was in the year 2020, which is the start of the pandemic. She did all the work to show people that if you set your mind to do something and you're determined you can do anything you dream about, even if you are not an influencer and just a purposeful individual. The summit has grown to over 200 plus experts worldwide, and it delivered over 220 hours of live broadcasting to anyone. And this was very beneficial for those who were trying to find their footing during this pandemic. So when she started this off in 2020, I believe you had about slightly over 100 speakers. And then last year you doubled it. So thank you, Andrea, for accepting my kind invite to be my guest.
You're welcome and happy to support wherever I can. So thank you very much for the invitation.
So Andrea, I tried my best to give a balanced and very detailed introduction about yourself, because there's still a lot more that you have done. But we want to keep the interest and attention of everyone, and we want to have a fun and engaging dynamic conversation. So besides some of the things I mentioned, Andrea, is there anything else you want to tell our viewers and listeners about yourself?
No, I think no. I don't. I think you summarized it well as a wordsmith. I think you put it well together, and maybe I will even use this intro later when I want to introduce myself, because many times when I talk to people, they have a little bit of difficulty of understanding what at the end I'm doing. But actually, what I want to tell to people, what is the main message here, is I want to people to learn to dance their way, to live their lives their way, and make the things happen. So those are the two things that I figured are people struggling with, to choose their own path, despite of all the other pressures that are coming to to them or even to me, because it happened to me too. And the other thing is to the make it happen part, when you don't believe that you can do it, and because you don't believe, you don't get to the implementation part, or you don't get to the part when you are really realizing your dreams and your ideas, and you're rather jumping. And this is something that I figured out that people are struggling with, and I would like to help with that.
Awesome. Andrea, so you've done many different things, trainer, empowerment coach, advocate, and then about, I believe 3 or 4 years ago, you started Weave, which is how you and I got connected, I think through mutual friends. And that was one of those weekly catch-up sessions with like-minded and positive thinking people, and with a little bit of humor as well as engagement, which was very important to me because, of course, this was pre the pandemic, but it helped, especially when the pandemic hit, because the rapport was there, the circle of friends of supportive people were there. And then you embarked on your own challenge to yourself when the pandemic hit, of single-handedly putting together the Global Empowerment Summit, the inaugural one in 2020. I kudos to you, and you are amazing for stepping fully out of your comfort zone, and because you felt that this was something that was important, people needed this, and you yourself felt, I think you needed it as well. You wanted to find a way to help people, to empower people, to connect them with people from totally different fields, and be supportive. So can you tell me what brought about that idea, Andrea?
Yes, some of the people know that I got stranded out of Malaysia for a while because I couldn't come back after I wanted to finally realize my dream and go to Argentina to dance tango. And I couldn't get into Argentina because of the lockdown. So they sent us to Brazil, and I have spent a few months in Brazil and then in Amsterdam. So during this time, a lot of my friends came to me and they were asking like, Andrea, I'm struggling so much. I'm like, really don't know what can I do? It was all these energies coming. Everyone was going down and negative and a little bit depressed. So I was like, all right, why do I have this positive energy? I couldn't go to Argentina. The big dream they couldn't manage. I cannot go home, but I'm still positive and I still want. And I started to figure it out, what makes the difference, why I approach this problem differently. And then I figured that because of my background, my dancing background, the improvisation, the things that I learned through dancing, right? It gives me a very strong core. So whenever I'm in a very bad situation, it doesn't mean I'm not feeling bad or I'm not crying or it's not hurting me, but I can get out of it very fast because I see that there is a solution, and it doesn't matter what happens. If you dwell on it, it will not help you. So I use this energy, and I was thinking, all right, how can I make it better for other people? And how can I still encourage them, even in this very bad situation that was happening to us and is still happening for some people. So then I was like, all right, let's do something. I didn't really know how to do virtual events. I believe that was one of the first hybrid events happening online in this region, because that even the event management pages were not available that are available today. So I was like, all right, what's the biggest challenge? How can I show people that they can do the same? And if I can show them, then I can already pull them up by walking the talk. And I managed.
So,
I managed
Andrea,
to
you seem to
some...
thrive on different challenges and obstacles and all that. As you said, you develop certain skills and perhaps coping mechanism, and the foundation of this was from your experience as a dancer, learning different dance styles.
Yeah, it's part of my coaching methodology that I'm helping people with, because I believe that it's easier to relate to transformation when you relate to a very simple things like music or dancing, which is ingrained in us. And dancing is a very special thing because it goes for your mind, your body, and your soul. So when you do this and when you relate to it, it's connecting, and it's making you aware, and it makes you to be in the moment. And this skill of being in the moment, seeing the big screen and not just the small vision, it helps to deal with problems and not see just the problem itself, but already the extended part of it. So it helped me tremendously in event organizing, in bringing people together, in talking to the experts, in everything what I did was powered by these things, what I was learning with my 30 years of dancing, and I'm still learning whenever I go to a dancing event or when I'm dancing. So I really believe that business can be done on these principles, and that's why I created my methodology.
Yeah, you studied economics, right?
Yes, I studied. I'm an economist on bank management and stock exchange, and I was working in a multinational company for a long time. I was also working in export import, so I did a lot of business related things. And I believe, yeah, it was something that I didn't want to do because I always wanted to be just a dancer. But at the end, I'm really thankful for my parents to push me towards this, because if I'm not in business, I don't see the whole picture. I just very one-sidedly go for dancing. It would have been a different path. So for now, I'm grateful for this, because I believe that's a real value proposition, something that only I can provide, this combination of the dancing.
Yeah, the unique combination, the experience working in corporate, the knowledge of being an economist. And I believe that you mentioned in some of our weekly entrepreneurial sessions something about customer service as well, right?
Yes, customer service, service center, team leader. I was also coaching people for lean management. So all these, even the methodology of lean management, if you think about it, it's something very useful for businesses or for entrepreneurs, because you have your value stream, you know what's not working, you correct the process, you go through it, and then you do it better. So everything what I learned, I'm using it. Every single thing that I encountered, I'm implementing it, and I'm using it in my methodology. But as you said, I cannot stay put. So I really need this kind of different kind of vibes, because otherwise I get bored. Like I really get bored very, very easily.
Okay. Yeah, the tie-in to that, I think, is recently you're mentioning that you've taken up yoga to try and slow down a little
against my
and take things
hyperactivity.
little by little, step by step, because not everyone can keep up with the speed at which you do things.
I cannot keep up. So the main thing why I started yoga is that, when you are young and all these things, you are super healthy. It's very easy to deal with all these things, and then you can really still manage it. But as I'm getting also older, like we all age, right? Then I have to figure out how to have my slow moments, because I figured that this experience of flow and the excitement that comes to me every single time when I have a PDF. Today I had to create a PDF for the Global Empowerment Hub. And imagine I just was sitting down, I was starting, and I was like, I cannot stand up until I finish this, and I have to make it perfect. And I was like, and I was in so excitement that I was asking my husband, okay, read this, is it good, is it bad? And then every single time I'm jumping up. So whenever I do any activities, I'm doing it on a very high level of energy. And when you do it like this, you really need something to switch off. And dancing is something that I can use. So in the night, I go out, I dance, I go to social dancing, and then, all right, maybe sometimes I finish at 1 a.m. But if you think about it, that's again some activity. So you will not be 100% chilling and relaxing and meditating. So.
And it's also a good form of exercise for you, Andrea.
Yeah, very, very good. I mean, it keeps you fit, and I couldn't stop moving. I couldn't stop teaching. I still have a few students who I teach dance to. I stopped doing it like all the time because it takes away the passion part, and I want to keep the dance as my energy, as my battery source to recharge. But I still have some students, and I'm still doing it actively. I think that's important, especially today when we are sitting in front of the computer like 24/7.
Yes. Yeah, you started incorporating some stretching and a little bit of dancing into our weekly sessions because yes, one of the not so good things about this pandemic is most people, including ourselves, are spending countless hours in front of our computers. So, you know, it can cause eye strain, it can give you a stiff neck, aching shoulders, and for
Yeah,
those who are
exactly. I'm
probably
just
typing a lot, their fingers will probably be numb or, I don't know, throbbing or something.
yes, and the blood flow is stopped. You know, when you're sitting all the time, then it's really, really bad for your health. So it's good to just stand up. I would advise to everyone just to stand up sometimes, do a few exercises, move around every 30 minutes. Just get up, even like don't put your water close to your to your desk, but put it a little bit away so that you have to stand up and take the water from the other part or the other desk.
Wow, put the water as far away as possible. I know some people say that about
far away.
putting.
You still have to see it, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay. No, what I
a
mean
little bit
is,
further.
I know some people say do that with the phone, but this is interesting with the water bottle.
Yes, it's the same. It's a different motivation. But for some people, the phone will work very good too.
Okay. So Andrea, with regards to the summit, you basically use the power of connections and networking in LinkedIn, right? That's how I believe you found most of your speakers, right?
Yeah, I have to tell to everyone who is listening today that don't imagine that I already had these 108 experts in my pocket and I could just reach out to them and I could just do it like that. It was not the truth. So what happened is that I started to consciously reach out to people and I started to consciously knock those doors and ask those questions because I believe at the end, everyone needs some kind of collaboration today. So I was not having these doubts in my mind. I even wrote letters to Oprah Winfrey. I don't care, right? Because you never know. You never know. You just try and then you learn from the experience and then you do it better. But through this bravery or courage, I got all the experts that you could see in the first season, and then the second year I got double because it already was a good reputation, right?
Yes.
So now after I did these challenges this year, it's more about, okay, let's get transformation to the people, because I believe I already proved that you can do it. I believe I already empower the people through making it happen and showing to walk the talk. So this year we will focus on more active transformation of the people themselves.
Yeah, in 2020, it was a hybrid event. Some events were at a physical location in Kuala Lumpur, and then some of it was virtual. And in 2020, my participation was as a supporter and part of the audience. And then last year, the fun began. You challenged me and my our fellow community members in WEEP, those who were open to the idea of, you know, being more actively involved in the summit. And I not really a fan of taking many risks, but because I know it's you and I know some of the people involved in it, I said, okay, this is a safe environment. It's a chill place. Go with the flow, prepare as much as possible, research the whole thing and all that stuff. And I decided to take on the challenge you gave me, which was first time in my life. I was moderating panel discussions and also being a speaker on a panel discussion. And first time I was participating in an international event. I participated in e-bazaars and FB lives and all that stuff. But this is another another dynamic, another different situation altogether. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. I was very excited. I was also nervous and anxious about it. But seeing as I know quite a bit of the people from our Weave community, and then some of the other people from the 2020 summit, and then with you there as backup, I knew things will go as well as possible, because you can only plan so much. I learned many years ago, you have to go with the flow. You have to leave room for spontaneity. You have to be comfortable adapting and dealing with situations that don't go according to plan. And so I'm very thankful, Andrea, for you challenging me to do that. And I've grown quite a bit as a person and professionally through my interaction and connection with you and people in our original Weave community, which also got larger last year and became the Global Empowerment Hub, which was a spin-off from the summit.
Exactly. I love to say that you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? Because it's one thing that you learn things, and I really love to do this with people, to surprise them and put them into unexpected situation, because you will never learn if you stay in your own comfort zone. I love to create a safe place. That's very important. I don't believe in the method like in Hungary. There was this method to drop the kids into the water so that they learn to swim, right?
So you sink or you swim,
it was coming from real serious actions, right? But I don't like this. I love to create the safe waters, the safe environment. And once I did that, I'm happy to push the people and to try make them try out the things, because then you can experience it. Then you see it's not so dangerous. Then you see you can grow with it, and it will just encourage you more. I really love that part of people management, of the facilitation, of making people step out of their comfort zone in a safe environment, and then make them believe they can do it. And then after they did it first time, you don't need to do anything else. Just give them more opportunities and more and more and more. And then in this process, they are empowered. So that was the main idea behind the entrepreneur meetups, behind now the impact hubbers, how we call ourselves after we figured out a new name. And now it's a bigger system, because we plugged it into the Global Empowerment Hub. So I'm happy to do so. I'm really happy because most of the people who joined in as a first-time speakers from Malaysia, they got really good opportunities, very good collaborations, and nice outcomes from just participating at this summit.
Yeah, yes, I agree with you that stepping out of your comfort zone is necessary. I mean, 4 years, 3 months ago, when I embarked on the very daunting and adventurous journey of doing freelance work, I started off with basically just my knowledge, skills, instinct, experience, and expertise, Andrea. There was no guide, there was no roadmap, there was no mentor. I thought about it very carefully. I planned it out. I did my research, and I just decided, as I learned in these last 2 years of one of the things I decided to do is to go full steam into upskilling, because that's one of the good things about the pandemic. Suddenly, there were lots of master classes, webinars, workshops, seminars where you could learn from the experts, practical tips. And I wanted to catch up on that, because for me, my learning style is hands-on, is easier for me to grasp, for me to understand. Theory is well and good, but application is important to me. Okay, so I think I did pretty good considering that I figured it out step by step, little by little. And not everything was smooth sailing, but I did ask around people I know, or people connected to people in my own circle about certain things and all that. And 4 years, 3 months on, I'm very happy, because when the pandemic hit, it didn't really affect me much, because I already had the great visibility and was already quite well known, at least on Facebook. And then once the pandemic hit, I spent more time on LinkedIn, and also added on my more active involvement in Instagram. And then this year, I took on the challenge of creating regular content. And this is one of them. The video of this interview will be uploaded to my business YouTube channel, and the audio will go to the podcast, in the hopes of not only creating visibility for myself and my guests, but to provide, similarly, I think you and I are on the same wavelength. I would like to help people. And when I started doing freelance work, it was another extension of me helping more people by using my knowledge, skills, experience, and expertise to help others. Okay, because I learned, I too had some various challenges in different stages of my life. And I decided, okay, why not I harness that and see how I can help people while earning a good living for myself as well. And I learned along the way that the more I challenge myself and think positively, surround myself with like-minded people, do the research, think things through, and take imperfect action, which is one of the things I learned from several speakers. This is the way to go. And usually, for the most part, things go quite well. But if it doesn't go well, I learn from it. I learn from the mistakes, I learn from the challenges, and I grow as a person. And professionally also, I learn certain lessons and I gain certain skills and coping mechanisms, shall I say. And you and I think another thing we have in common is we like to support people, we like to encourage and empower people, we like to spread positive energy and help people, especially when they freely say, I need help. Because, I think you and I also similarly, we want to help people, but at the same time, we want people to actively ask for help because we do not want to impose our thoughts and ideas on them. We want them to be ready. They have the right mindset and the openness to ask for help, because asking for help actually is showing your strength. It's not a weakness. There's nothing wrong in asking for help, because we can only learn so much personally, hands-on, and of course through theory, and all of us have different learning styles. And I've learned quite a bit from you, Andrea, and I look forward to our weekly sessions because it's one of my rays of sunshine and positive energy and a little bit of humor and entertainment, and also another way in which I can gain more knowledge, because each of us in the community has our different areas of expertise, and we work in totally different industries and have totally different educational backgrounds and life experiences. So this is how this interview came about, because of the very synergistic, very dynamic, symbiotic friendship and relationship you and I have with our fellow community members. So Andrea, you've taken on a few more other things as well, right? In these last couple of months, would you like to talk about it?
Oh, there are a lot of things going on. So for now, I'm just trying to a little bit upgrade the Empowerment Hub. So that's what is around this part of the mission kind of part. Then I also restarted some of my classes for dancing and strengthening, and I'm involved in this and helping people to gain back their strength and give them some daily activities. And in the meantime, it's also keeping me fit, and it's a win-win relationship for everyone. And I would like to keep on doing it. And then I also empower and mentor some local organizations with some ladies and some gentlemen who invited me to actually help these communities, especially in the B40 area. I worked with universities to help the students and some local organizations for leadership for youth. And I also embarked into the fashion because of the empowerment perspective. So I'm working now with, actually the brand was made at the first Empowerment Summit, because we had a real broadcasted hybrid virtual summit and the virtual summit had an actual hybrid fashion show. And because of that, we created the brand My Digital Fashion Week with my partner Anwar Faisal. And the Global Empowerment Hub came into the picture because we want to empower everyone for all walks of life, for any race, any size, any age, so that they can embark on the journey of becoming models. So the Empowerment Hub comes into the picture to give confidence, to give boot camps and knowledge, and to use the resources to make the community grow. So I did a lot of projects with fashion and with modeling, and creating very unique perspective for designers and models to be a bit better in this business, to be a bit more empowered, to protect them a little bit better, to prepare them for the things that can come up in this industry. So I'm really happy about this partnership.
Great. Andrea, did you previously also dip your toes into modeling for a while?
I was doing, actually, I was not really an official model, but when I came to Malaysia, I embarked in a journey to start and try out some kind of pageant industry, because when you are a coach, you really want to try everything. You want to see the other side of the thing so that you can really help your coaches, right? So I ventured into pageantry, and I even tried modeling after that because I got some opportunities. And yeah, I can say that I'm not the kind of model that you imagine with a very serious face walking in the real strict model walk. Many times I got this, but I dance on the runway too, which actually brings some other opportunities. And I have to tell you that this partnership with, for example, my partner Anwar Faisal came from that actual act of me dancing as a model at a fashion show on the runway, because people were recognizing me, people were remembering, because I was different.
Yes,
And
you stood
everyone
out
was
for
asking
something
for
very
me.
unique, and
Exactly.
it was sort of like you were breaking the very traditional mold of models, where they are like, they're focused on certain gestures and walking a certain way during the catwalk. The focus is to showcase the accessories or the clothing, but in your case, you showed your personality, your passion, dance. You incorporated dance into your stint on the catwalk.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just something that, of course, it's up to the customer always when you're a model, what you have to deliver. But at the end, the model business and the fashion design business, it's opening up now. The big couture houses, all the big designers, they use real people like writers, actors, actresses, even from every size, doesn't matter. So they started to include people, because at the end, what you need to do is to sell what you have. And honestly, today, it's most of the things that you see on the runway, it's unwearable, because you don't have those kind of fittings, and then you are not supermodel, right?
Yeah.
So the companies got to realize that, and you can see in the big fashion houses that they changed their concept, and they are relating to the people behind the brand.
Yeah.
So I'm embracing this.
Yeah,
I'm
in the last few
embracing.
years, I think there have been more plus size models, models who, shall I say, have different abilities, uh, autistic models. And it's heartening and heartwarming to see that the fashion industry and the fashion designers are going with the paradigm shift to go with the times, to make fashion more accessible, to empower people, to not stick to the old one size fits all, and which I believe was not a very healthy thing for some of the models and some of the young girl and young men who were looking at those models as people to aspire to, or as like someone who they would like to be. I mean, I'm not blaming or criticizing, but for those who I think are very confident, they know themselves well and have a healthy self-esteem, they know that, that is just one side of the whole thing. That's not everything. But it's good now that not only in fashion design and modeling, But in most industries, inclusivity and diversity is being incorporated. They're realizing that, you need to be more open and accepting of everyone. Okay, you cannot just stick to the very traditional conservative, been there, done that, this is the way it always works way of thinking.
I think I would say they got tricked by the consumers, because a few years ago it shifted, and the customer is the one making the decisions. It's harder to manipulate the people. So when this is changing and the market is shifting, then of course the production has to change, and the things that you deliver have to change. So I would say they are not so all the time like making this for the people, but I believe the people had enough, and they said that, all right, I am this, I cannot change, don't pressure me, I don't want to be depressed, deliver me something that makes me happy, and then I will buy it. If you don't, I don't buy it. So from this perspective, they have been pushed to change, and I'm really happy that people step up, and this new generation is expressing what they like and what they don't.
Yeah, I think similarly that applies to skincare as well, and clothes and other things, even food, Andrea, that all brands, primarily the very well-known brands, and of course some of the very smart newer brands are realizing that they should engage with the customer or the client to ask them what they want, so that they actually fill the gap that is there, rather than imposing their ideas and thoughts onto the customer and then trying to market it and struggle to find a way to effectively get the attention of the customer or the consumer, which was what was done previously.
Yes, actually, it's really interesting, because there is a dynamism here, and I always bring up dancing as an example, right? When you go to dancing and you see people, like those people who are dancing to impress to the others, those people, they most of the time don't have, they are not so popular, because although they dance well and they are very, very good on the dance floor, they look very good. To dance with them, it's not so good, because when you dance with them, it will be all about them. It will be all about what they want. It will be all about their intentions. And then the other side, if you have someone who is like a little bit more inside turning, like not someone who is really outside turning and really focusing on the partner, then that makes a good experience, and that's the person that everyone will choose and hunt on the dance floor, that I want to dance with those people, and you want back this experience. And it's the same in business, it's the same in everything, that you need this inward turning focus on everyone else, not imposing your intention on other people.
Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, Andrea, we've got the 2022 Empowerment Summit coming up, and I believe this year's topic is about sustainability, right?
It's a sustainable digital transformation. So it's a very specific topic, because I believe that's what's coming, and it's threatening everyone, that we have to switch to digital. It will not go away, because they managed to break kind of like the people's withstanding. They are not against anymore. So everyone will stay in digital half of their lives, and later I believe it will get more ratio. So what's happening is that we now have to make sure that people understand what they need to know. I want to make sure that people get access to the information of digital transformation, how they can do that, what are the tools, who are the people in this field, what are the investment opportunities. And also, I want to make sure that we raise awareness about the part that you can make this digital shift still with the environment, the people, the society, and everything else in your head, so that it's not becoming, all right, we ruin everything around us, and that doesn't matter because we will sit in our home and we will live in our virtual lives. That's what we don't want. So yeah, this year will be about that, to prepare people on a personal level on the business level, on leadership level, and of course I add art and fashion because that's kind of like a very important topic for me, and it's lightening up people's lives. So it's good to have something like that too.
That's cool, Andrea, because my last guest, very recently, we were talking about social media marketing, entrepreneurship. We were also talking about digital marketing. And one of the things that we talked about was digital literacy and digital transformation being part of it. And so interesting that our conversation sort of has a tie into that. And I was telling her that, you know, a lot of people are overwhelmed. It's information overload, okay? Because there's so many acronyms, there's so many different terms. There's a lot of things going on, and, you know, people are confused, they're overwhelmed. I mean, having a variety, having opportunities, having lots of information is good. But on the other side of it, it can be very disorienting. It sort of can confuse you, and it can at times maybe paralyze you because you're wondering, which of these things is suitable for me? Which of these things would be a good thing to pursue? Because, you know, none of us has a crystal ball. We cannot predict the future. But I think you and I, another thing, and she and also I also have in common is I'm proactive by nature. I believe you are, and also she is. And my style has always been learn different things, develop different skills, because you never know when that knowledge and skill will come in handy, because it doesn't necessarily have to be related to my area of expertise or my experience or my talents. And one of the things I learned in this 2 years since this pandemic hit was the true meaning of the word pivot. Okay, before that, all I know about pivot is the pivot table in Excel, which is quite a complicated thing to put together, because I'm not exactly talented when it comes to statistical stuff and those kind of graphical stuff. I'm a visual person, but in terms of images and ideas, creative in that way. I learned the term pivot, which is tied into changing strategy, approach, looking at different ways of doing things, because what we know, yes, it served us well for a certain period of time, but it's not one size fits all. You need to go with the flow. You need to go with the trends. You need to update yourself. You need to upgrade your skills and knowledge, so that not only can you help yourself, and if you're like doing business or you're doing services or providing products, you need to be aware of what is out there, so that you can help others and help yourself to be on par with the current trend. Not exactly following the trend blindly, but to, shall I say, embrace it and see which of it applies and incorporate and implement it.
It comes back to, again, the methodology that I've tried to explain people, very simple. Some things like pivot is a very, very difficult thing in dancing. When you want to do a pivot turn, you really have to be already on almost the top of your knowledge. So I would say that also explains like this situation, what's happening in this volatile world. It's a lot of changes all the time. You have to improvise, you have to be adaptable, you have to be able to pivot. But that means before you can do that, you have to have a very strong core. You have to know what is what. You have to be aware of what you want, where you want to pivot, and where you want to turn this whole thing, and how you will adapt. So I would say this is also a very good analogy to explain that to go very fast in one direction and then being stopped and turning around into the other direction takes a lot of energy and takes a lot of consciousness. And it's the same in life and in business, because it's really, it needs a prepared, conscious, strong person to be able to pivot in these moments of life into the good direction.
Yeah, true. True. Yes. When you try something new, it's always going to be very challenging, especially for those who are not enthusiastic about the idea of stepping out of their comfort zone and taking risks and doing something that is out of the norm. Andrea, I believe, I'm not sure whether you're still doing it. You also have your, you used to have your like talk show, right? With invited guests on on your YouTube
Yes,
channel.
I just started. I just started the second season. So this year, it's very exciting. I'm trying to bring different kind of people. So I had my first guest, Stitch. He's a beatboxer from Malaysia, and he is the very influential beatboxer, kind of like 80,000 followers, 2.1 million views on some of his videos and beatboxing performances. And it's really interesting. I want to show in this season like how people can go for what they love, and because they love it and it's passionate, it brings them more success because it's more authentic, because they originally are just going with their own flow and with their original instincts and the things that are inside, and then it brings them a lot of success. So that's what I want to do in the Dare to Dance Your Way second season.
Wow, wow. Oh, so beatboxing. Wow, I didn't know that this is, I think this, I'm not sure how popular it is in Malaysia, but perhaps it's an upcoming trend. Or maybe at the moment, there's not much awareness or publicity
They
about
do a
this.
lot in Indonesia. It's
No, no,
very, very
I'm talking
popular.
about in Malaysia, Andrea. Yes, I'm sure in the US, UK, and other countries, beatboxing is quite well known and quite well established.
Yeah. But as I heard, there are a lot of people in Southeast Asia also doing it. So Stitch is actually breaking on going to this competition or speaking about the people and the performances and doing some kind of analyzation of the different beatbox competitions. So I really love it. Please follow if you can Stitch on YouTube. It's an amazing what he built himself for himself by himself. It's amazing achievement, I think.
Is the spelling Stitch as in like the Disney cartoon Lilo and Stitch?
Yes, it's coming
Stitch?
from there. It's coming from there because he was really good in imitating the Stitch speaking, and that's
Wow.
how he got the name, and that's how it
Ah,
became his beatboxer name.
okay, okay. Um, so Andrea, 2 years into this pandemic, there's still a lot of people who are, shall I say, stuck in their comfort zones, or they're reluctant to step out and challenge themselves and be proactive and take a little bit of calculated risk after doing the research, playing it out, and talking to people that they know. Uh, what are some tips or some suggestions or ideas that you have for them?
So first of all, I would say that we already talked about it. You cannot force people to change. What I can say as the first idea is to put yourself in situations and meet a lot of people, because you never know which people will trigger you to change your life. Because some people may information in and out and it doesn't really affect your life, but you can meet someone at the very point when you are sensitive about the information and it can really change and just wake you up. And once you are awake, it will be easier to change and to get out of your comfort zone. The second thing is, what is very pushing and pressuring in Malaysia too is the mental health issue. So I would suggest that if you feel really low, if you really have like problems, that don't forget, you still can reach out. And the best thing that you can do is to reach out. I know that it's very hard to speak about mental problems in Malaysia. It's not so well received, but it can cost a life not to speak about it. So don't risk that. I would say reach out. So 2 tips: put yourself into situations where you are really in, meet people and find your trigger. And then the second thing is, if your mental health is challenged, then please reach out to people who can help you with that, because it's very sad what's happening all around the world, but especially in Malaysia with all the suicidal things. And I know that suicide is also some kind of a crime in Malaysia. So it's all working into something that is pressuring the people into a direction which is not out of the situation, but more deep down into the problems.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes, mental health, slowly but surely, the situation is changing a little, in that people are actively making it more comfortable, or shall I say, they're creating the space where you can talk about it to, shall I say, organizations like Befrienders, or there's so many other NGOs.
Yeah, I know,
And
even our friends like Ring a Ring for Roses with
yes,
Roslyn and Bartela. So I know that a lot of people are working on it. I'm really happy. In the last 6 years, I'm here in Malaysia for 6 years. And I have to say that in the last few years, it really changed. And maybe because of the pandemic, maybe because of the pressure, it has been opened up, and people see that, yeah, there needs to be some open awareness. We need to talk about it. Otherwise, people will just take their lives, and it's not really a beautiful picture. But what's
yes,
happening in Malaysia, it's very nice. I'm really happy about the development.
yes, the pandemic has probably made mental health a more brought a greater spotlight onto it, because the pandemic sort of created a situation where it affects everyone's lifestyle. It restricts your movement, because, of course, safety and health is important. I mean, physical health is important, but it's not at the expense of mental health. And yes, it is important to talk to someone whom you trust, someone whom you're comfortable with, whether it's a friend or a family member, or someone in NGOs. And yeah, you mentioned, yes, Rosalind and Watsala have Ring a Roses, and there are lots of organizations that are available, providing services where you can talk to them. You can also consult counselors and psychologists, depending on what it is that you need help with. So any last words, Andrea, before we wrap up our conversation today, even though we are having such an engaging and fun interaction?
I think it's just for you, keep on going. I'm really proud of you. Whatever you have achieved, I know that you will achieve more. And yeah, just keep on doing what you do. For the people who are listening to us or watching us, just be yourself, guys. Try to figure out how you can make your life better for yourself. And then after you figured out how you can be stronger, then don't forget to help others, because there will be always someone who is in trouble, and we can always elevate other people around us. And it gives you back so much. I can tell you that seeing Chrishanne here after we met, and then since where she was and where is she today, I have to say that these things will always lighten your life up, because you feel that you give and then you receive back, and it creates an upward moving circle, as I like to say.
We need to pay forward. We need to lift each other up. And it can be a simple thing like a kind word, sending a hello, how are you? Or maybe treating your friend to a meal, which is one of the things that one of my good friends did. It really made my day, and it showed me how much our friendship means. She knows how much the challenges I've been dealing with since this pandemic hit, because of my inner circle. And despite it, I decided to rise above the challenge and do as much as I can, bearing in mind certain limitations and restrictions that were imposed on me. She made my day by, showing her kindness and thoughtfulness by treating me to a meal. And she went out of her way, Andrea. She stays quite a far distance away from my house. And it's the little things like that, sending a hello message, treating a friend to a meal, or, calling someone, so that they know that, they are not alone, that there are other people who think and care about them. This is important even before the pandemic, but all the more important because one of the not so good things about this pandemic is it minimizes our face-to-face personal interaction, which I very much miss. Yes, it's good that we have technology, but there are certain limitations. You miss the, the actual dynamism and the positive interaction of face-to-face. The energy high that you get personally face-to-face is very different when you're doing it on technology. But I suppose, we have to make the best out of what we can, and this is part of life. We cannot have things going according to plan always. We have our plans, as I've heard many times before, and was said by my late paternal grandmother: man proposes, God disposes. Not to get religious here, but what it means is we humans have a plan, but the higher power, the higher being, the universe has a larger plan which we don't know about. So things happen for a reason. So even though sometimes we hope and pray for certain things, and we put in the effort, the time, and the energy, we sometimes get frustrated when it doesn't work. We don't understand that there was a lesson to be learned. Things happen for a reason. And through those challenges, we develop skills, we develop resilience, we develop coping mechanisms, and we become stronger, so that whenever there's something that's a bit more challenging and unexpected, we are equipped to deal with it much better than we did previously.
Exactly. Experiences make us richer.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. I've enjoyed our conversation, and there's still lots more to talk about, but we will catch up another time, and both I and you will provide our contact information, so that anyone who wants to know more about what we talked about, or get some ideas or tips, or brainstorm or something, they can reach out to us. So all the best to you, Andrea, and I look forward in seeing how I can challenge myself even further for this year's summit, and see I'm sure you're gonna try to build higher and greater, right? Because the first summit was 100 plus, then last year was 200 plus, and then this year is going to be a more collaborative, wider partnership. And if I'm following the trend, I mean, I'm not putting pressure on you, Andrea, but I know you yourself want to improve and expand on things. Following the trend, first year was 100 plus, last year was 200 plus. If I'm not wrong, Andrea, it looks like we're gonna go close to 300, right?
Yeah, I think we will reach that ceiling. So let's see. I don't say anything in advance, but
yeah, we will keep the
surprise is still there.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So Andrea, anything else you want to say before we?
No, thank you. Thank you for
the
the conversation. It was amazing, and thank you for inviting me. Please keep on listening to Chrishanne and follow her, because it's amazing what she does. And yeah, that's all for me for today. Enjoy your time, and make the most out of this short life.
Yes, life is short, and we must seize it as carpe diem. Seize the day. Okay. Take care, Andrea, and enjoy the rest of your week and evening, and we'll catch up another time. Bye.
Bye-bye.